Ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Jerry Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is really true, is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Jerry Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jerry Petito Show on HamiltonRadio.net. So I'm really excited about tonight's show for a few reasons, but two of the reasons I'm really excited is because I have these two guests to my left, childhood friends, okay? I finally got them on. How cool is that? So it's going to be a really interesting, informative show for everybody out there. Each person, usually I have a theme to my shows, not tonight. Okay, so everybody will share what's very important to them at this moment, what's going on, to let you know what's happening, and a lot in our community in Robbinsville as well. So what I'm going to do is I want to introduce my co-host, Ava Holly. So Ava, tell everyone who you are, and then
Okay.
we'll introduce all our guests.
Just you. What do you want me to talk about?
No, just tell them who you are.
Okay. Okay. So I'm Ava Holly, and founder and CEO of 4A Star, and
And
what else do you want to?
your bags.
Oh, you want me to talk about that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Love that.
Ava's Eye Bags. So we're starting an Ava's Eye Bags movement. We have empowerment bags that will give back to 21 charities across the country. We have about a dozen of those charities selected already. And as we go on tonight, we'll
Yes.
talk about lots of other things.
So
So
I just love that. Okay, Ruben, baby,
A Ruben baby.
how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
you doing?
My name is Ruben Castillo. I'm an entertainer in the New Jersey, East Coast, Atlantic City area. I've been an Elvis tribute artist, a grand champion Elvis tribute artist. I'm also working at Boogie Nights in the Tropicana. I work as an MC called Elvis Estrada. And but we can talk a lot more about all the other things that are going to go on. So that's
Very
about what I
cool.
do.
Michael.
My name is Michael Bollinson. I'm
There's the camera.
currently running for State Assembly for 14th Legislative District in New Jersey. I wear a number of hats, so that'll sure will come out throughout the show.
we're going to get into those hats,
We're
right?
gonna get into all those hats.
All those hats.
George, anyone out there, let me know if the sound is okay, if you guys heard Michael as well. Okay, Polixeni.
Hello, I'm Polixeni Katsaros. I'm a physical therapist. I've been practicing for 34 years, and I finally finished my book, Posture, Simply Posture, Correct Simply.
There it is. Fred.
I'm in the hot seat sitting right next to you. Do my best to make sure that the posture's good. My name's Fred Walker, and I'm here representing M&M Productions, which is doing a production of Scrooge the Musical at Kelsey Theater at Mercer County Community College.
That's right.
And I'm in a wonderful position with the show. I am the director of the show, and I'm partnering with my wife, Heather. Boy, she keeps me on the straight and narrow, and I'll explain that when we dive into that a little bit. But that's the primary thing. But Jerry and I have other stuff that is going to come up.
Yes,
so
I'm sure.
It'll be fun.
I'm sure.
It'll be fun.
So I want to mention George Bates. He was supposed to be here tonight, and he couldn't be here, but I want to give a little shout out to this man. He is at the Veterans Center. They're there for readjustment counseling for combat veterans in Mercer County and Ewing, New Jersey. The address is 934 Parkway Avenue, Ewing, New Jersey. The phone number is 609-882-5744. So anybody All right, so if anybody's interested in getting in touch with him, you can even just private message me on Facebook, okay? And I'll get you in touch with George because what he's doing is incredible for the veterans, okay? I met him. He's an awesome man. His wife is incredible, so they're really good people. Okay, guys? Let me know, guys, about the sound, okay? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, and then we're going to start the interviews. So for everyone out there who knows, you know I'm the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smart ass than a dumbass. 28 years ago, guys, I was a dumbass. 28 years later, today, I am a smart ass. Absolutely. God is good because what God has brought me through, regardless of me, okay, my bad choices, is unbelievable. And I'm going to tell you what's happened today. So I helped a friend get into a rehab close to a year ago. And she called me up. She was in Princeton House, and that's where I went 28 years ago. And she said, Jerry, I'm passing around your book. You need to bring about 6 or 8 books here. And I got really choked up because I've never been back there, not even to visit anyone, in 28 years. So 28 years later, the drug addict walks in the Princeton House holding her books on addiction. Imagine that. That's how good God is, guys, okay?
There you go.
28 years later, I'm nominated for Internet International Hall of Fame radio show host, and I got a call last week. I will be inducted in December. That's pretty cool, right?
Hey,
So,
congratulations.
thank you.
exciting.
I say all that to say this. Nothing's impossible. And all my shows, you know, I don't think I've done one show where I didn't mention, you know, God or how everything is possible, regardless of your age, regardless of your circumstances. Never say never. I've had authors on my show, 84 years old, right? Unbelievable.
Wow.
So never say never, guys, okay? You are not worthless. I'm going to read at the end of the show a poem out of my book, okay, for everybody out there, because unfortunately, I don't think there's anyone out there who doesn't know of someone or themselves struggling with some sort of an addiction, okay? So having said that, I want to thank everybody for, we have so many people watching already, guys. Wow, you guys are famous. All right, this is cool. So let's start with Ava. So,
Okay.
oh, let's give Marco a
Yeah,
shout out,
let's-
who was also supposed to be here. Marco.
And
Ava.
Marco and I also have our own shows here at Hamilton Radio, and Marco couldn't be here tonight, but he is going to be getting an award
Yep.
on November 13th with SNJ Millennials. Give a shout out to Quandel, who's fabulous. You have to get Quandel out here. He's getting a 30 Under 30 award along with 30 other people, or 25, something like that, because of his involvement in our shared office space that we just opened.
Marco's
20
watching.
years old, and
Hey,
he's
Marco.
a co-owner at our shared office space, Rise and Shine, out in Hamilton. So I'm hoping we'll talk a little bit
Yes.
about that. But Marco has his own radio show, and I also manage his production and film company, which runs out of our office space, Mr. Panting Productions, and we're also business partners now. So I'm excited about that. And we both have radio shows here.
Do you know, and we'll talk about that as well. I did write a small poem just about entrepreneurship because this was kind of like off the cuff, last minute. So normally I try to write guest poems for each guest, but this one was a little bit harder. So I'm going to read this short poem about entrepreneurship, okay? I'm here to introduce and get their names out, these hardworking folks I want to tell you about. This group right here today are striving to be heard. They are all self-employed. Let's help them spread the word. We need to spend our hard-earned dime through local people, yes, all the time. Big corporations and buying online puts them in big trouble. This is really not fine. Our towns are in trouble while they're getting rich. We all need to care and soon make the switch. We need to support everyone in our town, so let's keep it local instead of moving around. I can vouch for these guys because each one I have used, they are always attentive and never short-fused. Their service is awesome. I keep coming back. Service with a smile. This crew here, don't slack. So one at a time, introduce who you are. Let's help each other. We will all then go far. I wrote that for you
Ooh,
guys.
I like
Very
that.
nice.
Very nice.
Jerry.
Okay? So, all right.
Jerry, we got to talk about the entrepreneurship a little bit because
Okay.
I know some people here are, some aren't, but I want to get it out there that it's a hard reality to be an entrepreneur. I mean, I'm not talking about the ones that are in the network marketing companies, because they're also entrepreneurs. And some people will say, you know, they've made it to the top of their whatever business in 5, 6 months, a year, whatever, and they're doing very well. But entrepreneurship is very hard. And I don't discourage anybody from doing that. If that's how your heart lies, you have to be willing to risk everything to make it as an entrepreneur. And some people have that in their blood. They just can't work for somebody else. They have to work for themselves, you know, and they say nobody will do a better job for you than you. But it's you have to be able to risk things to be an entrepreneur and stay persistent with it.
So it's interesting. I have a completely different perspective than you. I'll share mine.
Okay.
So what she's saying is true, but my perspective is different. I've been self-employed since I was 22 years old. I opened up my first beauty salon, and I was a hard-headed Italian, wouldn't take no for an answer. You know, I'm going to share something. I threw someone out of my salon back in the day, Mrs. G from Mrs. G's. Threw her out of my salon. That wasn't a good thing to do. I'm not telling you to ever do that. But,
Burning bridges.
But my point is, you're right. You have to be willing to give up things and sacrifice and work really hard. But the good news about entrepreneurship is it's possible.
Oh, yeah. No, I totally agree with that. I'm just saying that people just sometimes think it's that overnight success that takes how many years, right?
yeah. Yep.
But
No.
you have to be, you know, if that's in your
Diligent.
blood, you go for it. You don't
go
let
for it.
anything get in your way.
Gotta be
But you
diligent.
got to be willing to
Yes,
handle
absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. So Marco's saying hello to everybody.
Hey, Marco.
Marco.
Love you,
Hi,
buddy.
Marco.
So,
I'll say polo.
Polo. Marco.
Gotta
Polo.
do it. Gotta do it.
and you know Marco. So let's talk about what you do. Come on, baby.
Or am I- Me? Oh, me, Ruben. So I do a lot of different things. It's funny, yesterday I put up a post on Facebook about, I was wondering what my purpose was, and I've done so many different jobs over the years. Whether I was a teacher, I used to teach Spanish, I used to work on a food truck with my dad, who was an entrepreneur, came all the way from Peru back in the late 60s, and fed a family of 7, you know, on a food truck that wasn't cool back then, you know, and
Now it's trendy. Yeah.
now
right.
it's very trendy to be, you know, work on a food truck. But back then, it was like you go into the industrial park and you're feeding hungry, angry factory workers
I didn't
sometimes.
realize
You know,
that. Okay.
so I've met presidents of companies. I've met guys who were the janitors and all that stuff. So
And angry, hungry people.
angry, hungry people. Yeah. So so I've done a lot of different
Angry.
work, and currently my day work, I work with special needs clients trying to find them employment. So I do that as well. But my main focus has always been around acting and entertainment. And funny you mentioned that Scrooge the musical. I was the Ghost of Christmas Past.
Oh, excellent.
No, excuse me, Ghost of Christmas Present.
Yeah.
4 times for a theater company. So
Typecast?
I don't know where it came from, but yeah, years ago. But Ghost of Christmas Past or Present is supposed to be like a giant, and here I am, 5'7", you know, whatever. But that didn't stop me from doing what I wanted to do, and so back when I was about 13 years old, I knew I could just do voices and impersonate people, and learn to, you know, just do characters, and Elvis was one of them. And
Wait, excuse me. I have to ask you this. Is Elvis your favorite one to do?
He's
Please
the
say
easiest
yes.
one. Well, he is my favorite one to do because it just comes very naturally to me.
Okay.
My grandmother had a Velvet Elvis on her wall.
course.
If anybody remembers the Velvet
Yes.
Elvis, so she had one on her
Had
wall.
one. Excuse
My mother
me.
had the bust.
Yeah, the bust. And so the Velvet Elvis was there, and I never knew who he was. I just knew I wanted to be this person. And then when I was about 13 or 12 years old, I kind of put 2 and 2 together. And I'm like, oh, that's Elvis. And because that's when VH1 and MTV were playing the Elvis videos. Yeah, that's going back a ways. So all of a sudden I was in a talent show, and, you know, the teacher, the chorus teacher was like, so what are you going to sing? I'm like, oh, I'm just going to sing Blue Suede Shoes. Well, she said, you're not singing 1 song, you're singing 3 because you sound like Elvis.
Oh, wow.
So went on from there and did a lot of musical theater over the years, and learned to hone the craft of acting and voices and voiceovers. And next thing I know, I'm performing as Elvis. And so it's taken me a long way. I've actually developed a show called Elvis Unplugged. And what the show is I took my love of history and my love of theater, and my love of education, and I made it into essentially a multimedia showcase with me as or Elvis as a teacher, and he's teaching about the time periods that he lived in from the 50s through the 1970s.
Very nice.
And it's really neat because it's PowerPoint, there's video, there's visuals, and of course it's me teaching the lesson, but also singing the lesson as well too. So singing Elvis's songs, and audiences get a real kick out of it. We do it at libraries, and
Ruben, you do it at schools as well?
I would love to do it at schools. That's where my wife is a former special ed teacher. I'll give a shout out to my wife. Hey, Pat.
Yes.
So she and I were developing some curriculums to bring to the schools. Time went on, and we just put it to the side because mostly the libraries were doing it, and then I got involved with Atlantic City, so that kind of took everything to the back burner. So, but I would love to eventually bring this to a higher education, or even middle school, high school. Because this covers small periods of Elvis's life between, say, 1961 to 1963, or 60 to 63. We also cover decades long periods. So that would be a little bit too long for kids to remember, but we try to put everything within an hour, so it's great for audiences.
Yeah.
And for the younger kids, what I noticed, and I did this with the special needs group, is I made it like a show and tell, where I brought some of my costume pieces where they could actually see. They're thinking that they're touching Elvis's belt.
Oh, honey.
And,
that's great.
Yeah, it was a really neat. Yeah, it's
Jerry would like that.
Yeah. I actually have a piece of Elvis's shirt. It's actually in a baseball card.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I have a piece of Elvis's shirt.
I will talk later.
Yeah, we'll talk later. I don't want to be giving that. But that, so that's, where the entrepreneurship for myself, trying to build a business with that. And now we're developing it into something where I've incorporated my persona that I do at Boogie Nights in the Tropicana. So the character's name is Elvis Estrada, which is a combination of Eric Estrada, if anybody remembers that guy.
Chips.
Chips, yeah. And my friend Dan's my friend Dan, who's also an Elvis tribute artist, he's like, and he's from Staten Island. He's like, Ruby, you look a lot like Eric Estrada, And I'm like, okay. So we put it together, and I dress in all these disco clothing, and it's really neat. And so what I had in the thought a year before I went into Boogie Nights, I had this idea about taking my 70s material and fashioning it with 70s singers, and it would be called That 70s Guy. Yeah. And, so you have Engelbert Humperdinck, you have Barry Manilow, Tom Jones, Elvis, Kenny Rogers, things like that, and essentially doing the lesson with those 70s type singers. But now what we're looking to develop is really more of a stage show where I'm that character, but we also have some female singers and female dancers. So I'm looking to talk to my boss over at Boogie Nights to see if he wants to do something like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Interesting. I love it.
That is cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So that's some of what I do. And voiceover, I'm a voiceover actor as well, too. I do a lot of video games.
That's cool. I like doing that.
It's very neat, and the voice that I did like this has got me a lot of work in the past. So, and I think you guys were talking about SpongeBob before.
Yeah, we mentioned it out in the hall.
So I was thinking about a character that I had to do for a company called Mighty Yeti, and they're going to be launching this, I think, into an internet cartoon soon. But it was a character called Mr. Cupcake, and he had this. It's an interactive storybook called Mr. Cupcake Has the Sprinkles. So they wanted me to do all the voices for all of their interactive storybooks. So they sent me the pictures of Mr. Cupcake, and if you guys are out there, you can take a look out there for Mighty Yeti and Mr. Cupcake. And I had a dear friend of mine. His name is Roy Arnold. Roy Arnold just passed away back in January, and he was one of the co-producers of a contest that I was grand champion at back in 2013. It's called the Reflections of the King contest. And Roy was from Bunnell, Florida, and he had this big old smile, and he just talked like this the whole time, and he just loved everybody. And so I learned how to do his voice and the way he talked. And so they said, well, we need something, for Mr. Cupcake. We want him kind of like SpongeBob, but not. So I looked at Mr. Cupcake's teeth, and I'm like, those are just like Roy's. So big old smile, and I just took it and made it higher. And I was talking about Greek gelato and things like that. So
Nice.
yeah, it's a lot of fun changing your voice and being different people. So it's fun.
Music is a must for you to keep your joy.
Yep.
Especially
it
if it's Elvis, because Elvis is my boy.
and everywhere.
I
Let's do
love
it.
it.
Oh, you want me to sing like Elvis? Maybe I didn't treat you quite as good as I could have. Maybe I didn't love you quite as often as I could have. Little things I should have said and done, I just never took the time. You're always on my mind. You're always on my mind.
Beautiful.
Nah.
Beautiful, baby. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Working
have
on
to
George
do a
Michael
room-
too, apparently.
Room
too.
full of
yes.
Elvises.
Yeah.
You are.
Working on George Michael, Tony Orlando, all those guys. Yeah.
So wait, okay, can you do a clip of Tony Orlando?
It's really like just my regular voice because he was a Greek-Rican, so you know he.
So-
Cause he was, hey girl, what you doing down there? Dancing alone every night while I live right above you.
That's cool.
I can hear your music playing. I can hear your body swaying. One floor below me, you don't even know me. I love you.
That's good, man.
Oh, darling. On the ceiling if you want.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So, okay, George Michael, give us something.
Working on this one. It's like
Okay.
so I have to talk. He sounds a lot like me when he's British, but it's like I feel so unsure as I take your hand and lead you to the dance floor. As the music dies, something in your eyes cost your mind a silver screen and all its sad goodbyes.
That's so good. Oh my
And I
God.
just did Meatloaf this weekend at Boogie Nights. They thought I
love
was Zombie
Meatloaf.
Elvis, but we were doing the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And I was walking around and I looked like Meatloaf, you know, in the Rocky Horror Show. And they actually had me singing along with Meatloaf. And
Really?
it kind of paired up. It was like really weird. They've done that a few times to me at Boogie Nights where they played Paradise by the Dashboard Light and I just make it sound like that or I make it sound like Madonna.
That's so cool, man.
It's fun.
I love all that.
We have to go out there one night. You and
Boogie Nights is fun.
Whoever else wants to come.
Yeah,
Out to Boogie
Thursdays is 90s night. Fridays and Saturdays are 70s and 80s.
Oh, thank you, baby. Water bottles for
Uh-oh,
everybody.
water's
All right.
coming flying.
Wow.
Look out.
Here.
Hey, bada, swing.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Catch yours.
Okay.
Yeah.
I play for the Yankees, so we drop everything apparently.
Thank you,
We
Ruben.
didn't even practice that.
How about that, Ruben?
That was great.
Thank you, Ruben. The other Ruben.
Thank you.
Oh, man.
Thank you.
So, Michael, let's talk a little bit about what you do now. The camera's there. We have a tendency to look into the screen because we can see ourselves, guys, but the camera's straight ahead.
Kind of hard to follow that up.
Tell
You can borrow my
everybody
hair if you
what's
like.
happening.
I haven't had hair since a long time ago. My name is Michael Ballinson. I live in Hightstown. I'm currently running for State Assembly for the 14th Legislative District. As everybody hears, we all wear a number of hats or have worn a number of hats. So my primary focus right now is to hopefully get elected on Tuesday. And if that doesn't work, I've got a couple of things I can fall back on. One of which being producing. I've actually produced a couple of short films and web series that is currently hitting some festivals. But
So cool.
that's another end of my topic.
But names of them, or can you give us info? Yes,
The one
give
that
us
we're
info.
the web series that we're currently shopping around and have actually won a few awards. Most recently, the International Film Festival in Manhattan for the best web series is The Connection. It's a 5-minute long episodes. There's 6 episodes. The last episode is a little longer, but it can be found on YouTube. There's a number of platforms. I'm a little drawing blanks on them at the moment. But if you look up Fro Video on YouTube, it's the Connection series. It's kind of a noir-esque superhero type of vibe to it. My youngest son is in a couple of episodes, and I have to say, jealous that he nailed that part so well.
That's so cool. My grandson's in acting school. He's 18 if you want to ever use him.
I'm
Just
sure I'll get his
saying.
name.
Okay.
I'm in the process of writing my own screenplay for something, and
Awesome.
so keep my fingers in a lot of things. And fortunately for my my own sanity, also like my wife is a heaven
Okay.
sent and allows me to do what I need to do or what I like to do, as long as the important things get tended to.
So you like to write?
I think that I do a good job at it.
That's so cool.
While we're on the subject of film, and you'll probably jump to Fred next, but one of Marco's friends is on our advisory board for The Office, and he's a film producer with Willie Nelson. So he went away and obviously couldn't tell anybody where he was going. He was working on a private show, but he just won an award also for being a producer with a few people on, a project. So it was all posted on Facebook and everything. But I want to hook you guys up with him because that's all this
why not?
connection, So
That's
that'd
so
be awesome.
cool.
Mike, I want to go back for just a second because you are on my ballot.
Yes, I am.
So,
Oh, let's talk about it.
so what's the benefit of me voting for you?
Yes.
Benefit of voting for me is I don't have a party over my head pulling strings to tell me what I should or shouldn't vote for. If I am elected, every decision I make is going to be based off the information available, and I will do my absolute best job to get as much information about each individual topic.
What's one or two issues that are most important to you?
Right now, I think term limits is a big issue. I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be reformed.
Sure.
Healthcare, our budget being as horrible as it is on a state level throughout the nation, we're, I think, 49th out of 50 states. And that's kind of like a 10-year long stretch that I'd like to try and stop. I've tried to do the research to figure out where the budget is and where all the money goes, but it's impossible to try and get into that. So I'm running on a platform of accountability, transparency, and integrity, because that's what my background is. For the last 27 years, I've been in the capacity of helping others, whether as an EMT or as a police officer. So I have like I said, I've worn a number of hats.
You were a police officer?
Yes, I was.
Why didn't you say that from the beginning?
Yeah.
Like I
We
said,
have a
I've worn
police-
many
Because
hats.
listen to me,
right.
no, thank you. Because I love Robbinsville Police first and foremost because they're like family to me. But I love police officers. We need to give you guys as much respect as possible. So thank you. Wow, I didn't know that.
Are you a police officer now?
No, I retired in 2016. I have
Okay.
a little bit of a breathing issue that's prohibited me from
Okay.
continuing that work.
Okay. Where were you a police officer?
West Windsor,
Okay, cool.
so local. So,
Yeah,
Yes.
Nice.
but
Beautiful.
my entire adult life and a little before has really been in the service of other people and helping people, and I can't be a police officer anymore. So that's this is my
Right.
next
Excellent.
hopeful step.
Next chapter.
If things
Do you
go
have
the way I
any
hope
more
they
questions? Because you're good at this.
At the moment, no.
You ask him, I'll ask him. Right?
And we'll ask you, and then you'll ask her, and then
So Michael, no, this is beautiful. I didn't know that, and so all right. Let me ask something. You made a statement that the difference in what you're doing is you don't have a political party over your head.
Correct.
Okay. So how are you? All right. I'm gonna just ask you. Okay. I don't really do political shows, but I'm just gonna ask you. So how can you be sure that that's never gonna happen?
I have such a disdain
Okay.
for the two parties at the moment.
Okay.
I think between the combination that they fight amongst themselves, let alone with each other, it does everything to prohibit production and productivity.
Amen.
And in my opinion, both parties right now are the reason why the state and the country, for the better part,
Okay.
have the issues that we have, because we're kind of focused and narrowed down onto two particular ideologies. And from my perspective, you need multiple perspectives. You need multiple eyes, multiple minds, people thinking outside the box. And when you have two ideologies, you're kind of forgetting about everything that's waving out in the wind over this way. So getting more people in office that don't have the backing, that aren't being pressured to vote one way or the other, that are really looking at the issues as they are and how they impact
Beautiful.
things. To me, that's the most important thing, is really making decisions that are going to make the more positive impact.
Yeah, that's not an easy task either.
It's not.
right?
And
I'm gonna give two shout outs and you'll hear why. So a friend of mine, Rich Bryn, he's a poker buddy of mine. And he's a businessman as well. And he came up with something he named Enough is Enough. And it's a red hand and a blue hand shaking. And he approached me and he was like, Jer, I want to get this out there, blah, blah, blah. So I had him on my radio show a few times with someone else I'm going to give a shout out to. I took him to New York and we got on Fox News with our shirts, Enough is Enough, with
I
our
remember that.
banners. It was great.
Yeah.
And he's right. We have to come together. Now, Scott Gager, man of over 100 voices, he's also an incredible singer. He wrote a song called Red and Blue, and he sang it at the White House, at the bottom of the steps, forever. It was incredible.
Wow.
Okay, and he wrote that. So I agree with you 100%, and I just, you know what? You got my vote, baby.
Appreciate it.
You got my vote.
My
So-
my goal is to be. I believe there are a little more moderate-minded people within the state house that are hesitant to kick ideas out because they don't want to receive the backlash of the party. So if I can get in, there's I think 15 independent candidates on the ballot for all 40 districts. So out of the 80 seats available, there's 15 that are potentially could be filled by independents. And if we get enough of us in there, we can at least be a conduit for these other ideas that are people a little too afraid to voice because they don't want the backlash. But coming from an independent candidate,
Right.
there's nobody to give me the backlash.
Right.
So as long as I'm out there and doing,
Independence the best way,
trying to be,
you know?
not enough red and blue, enough us versus them, enough divisiveness. We
Yeah.
need to be working together, and
Working
that's
together.
my goal.
It's craziness, right? We need
It's
to be
frustrating.
working together, period.
It seems like common sense, but clearly that's void.
You know?
Was that common sense? What's that?
You know, it just reminds me. I'm going to say something, and it reminds me. This has been all over Facebook, and it's really awesome. And it's a young two little kids. One is white, one is African American, hugging and playing.
Oh yeah.
You know,
They don't
And
know any better.
they don't because
Right.
they should. No, they do know better.
But
See, that's the thing, because they know better. Okay, because there is no color. There is no. We're humans,
Right.
and all this crap is taught. You know, so
Absolutely.
no,
Yep,
I really
absolutely.
respect you. When you got in touch with me, I said to you, I don't really do political shows. I said, but you know, you're welcome to come on. So it's beautiful what you're trying to do, and I hope you win.
I appreciate that, and we'll see what happens in a
Okay.
week.
We'll be back to you guys. You got your books. I'll keep this here then.
Yeah.
All right, Polixeni,
Hi.
looking to tell everybody.
All right. Well, I'm a physical therapist, and I've been practicing for 34 years. And I speak to my patients all the time, every day. Usually, I repeat myself over and over again. And I decided to write a book about it. And so this, posture.
Get a little closer, baby.
Posture, Simply Posture Correct Simply book came about throughout the about last 10 years of my life, pretty much. And I decided to make it a children's book
Which I love.
because it needed to be a message that was very simple and that I wanted to get it out there to everybody. So I figured, well, who's reading these books to these children? Adults.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I figured let me get both sides here in one
That's so
time.
great.
So that's what I did. I had stick figures as the characters, and you see there's one that's slouch and correct. Those are the characters.
Ah,
And
nice.
then there's bravo pelvis, slinky spine, and mega muscle. And you see they all work together against gravity. You see, gravity is the I want to say the superhero type character in the book. He shows up. I don't know if you guys can see it, but he's like gravity, and
I love it.
and he's a
I think we have the voice for gravity right there.
That's so great.
Hi, I'm Gravity.
And you're invisible. And you're so invisible and that we don't even realize you're on us. And we slouch. So it's so true. And so
So gravity's
what I
not your
do-
best friend.
So we don't
More
like
like a villain.
gravity.
Well, gravity is with us whether we like it or not. And so it's best to learn how to live best and, use what we have. We have our muscles that control our spine and our bones, and very important to be aware. And it's really not hard. It's simple. So, and what I say is it's okay. I tell all my people, and I've dedicated this book, by the way, to my mom and dad, and to all my patients. You know who you are. And I say to them, you know, slouching is normal. It's okay. As long as you realize that
Get closer, baby.
maybe after 15 or 20 minutes, you have to then correct. That's all. And then slouch again, but then correct. If you're doing something that is work intense labor, you know, like I log. So I lift logs, I move logs, I roll logs, I stack logs.
I don't know what you mean. You log.
I log. I'm a logger.
I don't know what a
What does
logger
that mean?
is.
What is
I,
that?
I
a beer.
cut down a tree.
No.
That kind of logger.
I
Okay.
cut the logs into pieces.
Do you roll on them in the water?
I roll them in the what?
In the water. Do you?
No, there's no.
That's
I don't.
Nordic
do
But you
that.
know what I'm talking about, though, right?
The
Okay.
Nordic
Yes,
games.
That's
Yeah.
that could
But
be fun.
wait.
I'm also a physical therapist.
Right, you're a
but I
physical
also-
therapist.
I
but
log.
Do you
I live
log
on-
for a living?
I actually log because I love it.
At your home, just
at
for
my
you
home.
guys?
Yeah. I
Oh.
rely on the wood that
Yes,
I.
I've been to your home. You have a beautiful home. But I'm
That's
saying.
great. That's great.
Okay.
But in the process of doing, I then have to stop and go, oh, and then I want to extend and tail my spine
me
to
too.
go the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I don't, I get a very sad and achy feeling in my muscles and my spine. They don't like it. So what do? You just correct. You totally correct. And you go the other way.
So wait, guys, I'm sure everybody out there has had problems with their spine or slouching or posture,
Yes.
right? All this kind of stuff. So I have a couple questions, and then you guys could ask questions as well.
Okay.
So are you saying, this is what I'm hearing, that we could slouch for a half hour and we just have to correct for a minute?
Often, yeah.
For real?
Yeah, for real. For
So
real.
slouch, correct. Slouch, correct.
Yes. Absolutely right, Jerry.
That's so cool.
And that's
No
what I
one's
mean
ever
by
told us
simple.
that.
That's why I wrote
We
the
would be
book.
like, stand up straight. Stop slouching. That's what we were told growing
And that
up.
is exactly why. And all my patients, they have the same thing. They tell me the same thing. Oh, I had my uncle knee me in the back. I think
Yes.
somebody just told me that today. And I was like, well, look, it's okay to slouch as long as you are aware to correct.
But knee you in the back, cause you're slouching, because you might hurt your back. So he knees you in the back to let you not slouch. Got it.
Ouch.
Do you know where I saw the most of that? So I'm an entertainer too. So I grew up at the piano all the time, and at the piano, I think is the worst because when you're learning and you're little, you're like slouching, and nobody tells you sit up straight, and so I think I see it at the piano.
Ava,
Yes.
You just brought another point out that I wanted to bring up.
right.
Being entrepreneurs, we have to have posture.
Absolutely.
And that is like a whole nother world with the language. And I
The body
joined-
language thing,
The body
too, yes.
language thing, yeah.
Absolutely.
So having posture, not just in, I just did a lot of work and I don't want to hurt. It's just posture in I have confidence.
Yeah, I actually, when I work with my individuals that have special needs, and I've worked with people who are on unemployment, we would talk about interviewing skills, and I would tell them, and I picked this up on a TED Talk, that if you do the Superman or the Wonder Woman for 5 minutes in the mirror, or even 2 minutes in the mirror, and just stand like this, you will bring up your
That
confidence.
sounds like Amy Cuddy.
Yes, yes, it was Amy Cuddy, yeah, yep.
I'm very familiar with her
and
work.
I've done that before. Walking into my supervisor's office, where times like, oh God, I got to bring her some bad news, and I'm like, okay. And it just helps that I'm wearing a jumpsuit at that time, so
See, Italians have a whole different approach. We're like, really?
She already slapped me in the arm.
All right, I have another question. And then guys, seriously, if you have a question about your spine, please ask her, because I think this is so cool.
Absolutely.
Mattresses. What is better, a firm, a medium, or a soft?
Well, the mattress has to not let you sink in. So too
what I've heard.
soft is not good.
Okay.
And
Sounds like
Too
porridge.
firm.
too firm is not that good
Goldilocks
either
effect.
because you need some
So you need
medium.
medium.
Medium is best. And
Everything
if
in
you have a
moderation.
soft, you can use pillows to counter the the sagginess, and that's something.
And sleeping on your back, stomach. I sleep on my back.
Yeah, sleeping on your back, then you will not need a large pillow because
Okay.
there's not that much space between
Okay.
the neck and the head. So you don't really need. I tell people maybe a folded towel, and
Well, I have one of those little sacks.
yeah,
They're
they
so good.
just
Yeah, they got.
you don't really need anything pushing you
Yeah,
forward.
yeah.
You need to maintain.
Yeah.
There's a bone in the back of the skull. It's the occipital bone, and that comes up, and then the chin comes down, and that's really the best position. So when you're lying, that is the best position. Not everybody could do it without some physical therapy because there's tight muscles and it prevents you from breathing. So then,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
not good.
Breathing is very
Positional
important.
asphyxiation.
So
Need to breathe.
we tend to raise the chin, meaning that occipital bone goes down, and then your posture is all off. You may have neck pain, but you're breathing.
That's great.
Trade off.
It's important.
Yeah.
So, I see a lot of people with issues with, jaw, neck, just back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain. I always look at posture. Posture is definitely one of the root causes of somebody's pain.
Followed promptly by improper lifting mechanics.
Improper
Yeah,
lifting
that's true
mechanics,
too, yeah.
absolutely. And if you realize you did it improperly, then you need to then correct the posture. Immediately just counter it. Because we spend a lot of time sitting, and even when, we just spend a lot of time sitting, period. I mean, think about it, right? And our spine is flexed. We do things, anything, in front of the sink, in front of the computer, we're driving. Everything is pretty much flexed. And we hardly ever go the other way.
What are your thoughts on inversion tables?
Well,
Ooh, good question. I've been on
yeah,
one.
I tried one and I couldn't take the blood
Oh,
rush.
I loved it.
Blood rush is too much. However, if you can take it, there's
Helps
nothing
elongate.
wrong with it. Yeah,
That
it's
was what I was
absolutely
thinking of when
okay.
you first said that.
But I couldn't take the blood to my head. And if you have any eye trouble, you don't want that much pressure in your eyes, so you have to be really
I have a
careful.
question for you. Do you think it's better when you're correcting? Is it better from a sitting position, or is it better if you stand up, or doesn't it matter?
Oh, you have to do it in both ways.
Both ways.
Yeah, my book has a
Well, I'm doing it
specific
now. Do it now,
section.
guys.
Right, but
Yeah.
so
So
straight.
basically-
But I mean, is it better to
basically-
stand up and do it, or
Actually, in
See,
sitting,
everybody.
all right, everybody that's watching, up? No.
it starts from the pelvis, Ava. It starts from the pelvis. So when you're sitting, it starts from the pelvis. Use your abdominal muscle, and you pull up. Then you raise your breastbone. And then, because your head's attached to your spine, it kind of knows it's in the right place.
It follows in place.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And then when you're standing, you're no longer sitting anymore, right? So, but you're on your 2 feet, but your pelvis is still
It's still in the
still
same-
has
still
to
in the
start
same
with the
place.
pelvis
Yeah.
because the spine's attached to the pelvis.
So do you think Elvis had great
Knee
posture then?
bones connected to the
Elvis really knew about his pelvis.
Yes, yes.
He was pelvis. He had no figure though. He was a very lanky, skinny kind of guy, and
And he
it was
hated
all
to
it
be
was
called
all.
that.
But
We
the
didn't
whole-
care.
right?
The thing it was all an optical illusion. I mean, well, he had an insecurity. A lot of people don't know this.
No,
but
yes, he did.
His insecurity was his neck. He felt that his neck was too long, so that's why he was always popped his collar up, wore the Napoleon collars,
Yep.
wore the scarves,
Scarves,
yeah,
yeah.
things like
And
that.
he,
that
and
distracted.
he was nervous every time he had to go on stage. I mean, a lot of things.
It was
But
a lot,
honey.
And
Yeah.
also, he couldn't, those movements that he had were just natural. He couldn't stay still.
Yeah.
It was just a natural thing for
Oh,
him.
baby.
Isn't that something?
Now, I was reading about sitting, that it's not natural for human beings
It's
to
not.
sit. It's
Really?
like, is it more,
We never
because they're
had
saying
chairs
more to
back then.
crouch or
Like, yes,
lounge
we're
or things
still
like that
sitting.
rather than sit?
Didn't
Like
say
in,
anything about a
like
chair.
this kind of position? Because like I believe my wife, if you're listening, Pat, they have stand-up desks at work.
Yes.
You know,
And that's because we do sit too much, and as a
Also,
society.
I can say something about sitting as well.
Yeah.
They would sit on rocks, and their legs were higher. Like, I'm going to just put it out. I'm a nutritional health coach, okay? And I had colon cancer when I was 30. I was very sick, and I cured myself without doctors, you know. And here I am today. And now I help people with all kinds of diseases. And in my bathroom, I actually have a stool made for it. It goes around the toilet, because the right way back then was they would be on rocks,
Fit- feet would be
and
up.
their feet would be raised.
Don't you watch Shark Tank? The squatty potty
squatty
is the
potty, yeah.
biggest.
Yeah, I have
The
two
little
squatty
frog.
potties in my house, but I don't watch Shark Tank. But yeah, so that's why. So this stuff is not what, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, the proper way to sit is to sit on your sit bones.
Yes.
Which is, if I had a demonstration.
Right,
here.
and your knees are up. you
And
know.
the feet have to be under you, but the point is, though, is that you're on your sit bones and not on your sacrum.
Well, I don't think standing it too long is good either.
No, moving
know,
is good.
it-
Moving is really
Moving
good.
is bad. Moving is better. Than,
Yeah,
yeah.
switching positions.
So yeah.
Like an exercise that I tell people with back issues is slouch and correct.
Yeah.
My God, just that
That's a-
movement alone
Slouch and correct.
is an exercise.
But that's
and
one
I-
of the things they do when
I coined
when you
that.
bend over and you do they call it the cat.
Cat
It's the
cow,
same thing.
right?
You
Yeah,
know,
camel,
you do,
I think, cat
yeah,
and camel,
yeah, and
yeah.
it's slouch and it's the same thing.
By
And
sit
it's good
bones,
for
do
you.
you mean where the femur sits into the pelvic girdle?
That is the sit bones
Yeah.
are actually
On your-
Part of the
parts
pelvic girdle?
the pelvis, but underneath.
Got it.
Yeah.
The image that's coming to my mind is no, wait, is the sitting position that concert musicians, like a cellist,
Yeah.
you know, out on the edge of the chair, very upright, their back is straight.
Yes.
Not the
Yes.
thinking man.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that any one of us can only achieve that straightness when we're on our sit bones.
Yeah.
If we're on our sacrum, that means I'm tilted back. There's no way to go that way up. You have to.
But what about
be
the
on
ones
sit
that sit in the lotus position? Because then their legs are bent, but their back has to be straight. The yogis and yoga people and all that.
Well, you
The
know,
ones that can.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I'm saying it's the same kind of
You
positioning.
too can get there.
the
That's true.
the actual
We're all going to stretch after.
the actual position of the femurs, and that goes along with just knowing that if the femur, the knee is higher than the hip, it then puts a lot more pressure in the hip joint, and that's important for people that have arthritis. And
Yeah.
So those people wouldn't use the potty you were
Right.
talking about. But anyway, it's the pelvis is the key, and it's the center of
So cool.
our gravity line.
so cool.
It's important to use the abdominal muscle.
Gravity. I wonder what Sean Connery would think about this conversation about sitting, but he would say it in his own way. You know how he would say it?
Say it.
He would say it like shitting, you know, like that. I'm shitting down right now. You know?
That's
I
great.
can take it. I
Yeah.
love it.
So I want to put a shout out to my coworkers and my people
Alta watching and typing.
Thank you. Hi, Alta Jean. Yes. And everybody else that knows me that's watching as well. And I want to say I work with great physical therapists at North Jersey Physical Therapy
Yep.
in Morristown and in Hackettstown. And all of us are very well versed in posture, finding the root cause, and North Jersey Physical Therapy Associates.com.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, that was really a great conversation
Yeah, that was
about
fun.
posture, huh?
Yeah, I love it.
I learned.
That's
yes.
awesome. That's awesome.
I learned.
So simple.
I love it. It is simple. All right, we're going to all get back to everybody. Fred Walker's in the house.
Yeah.
Childhood friend of mine. Tell
All right.
everybody. Come
Well,
on, baby.
I sent Jerry a note about this production of Scrooge that I'm working on, and so that's how I ended up here. I'm going to give one little note because this is something certainly this crew doesn't know. My day job, my regular job, I'm a corporate trainer with Dale Carnegie Training, and I do, among other things, I do leadership and presentation skills. And when you were talking about Amy Cuddy, when we do our high-impact presentation skills, teaching executives to have a strong, powerful presence, we use her images.
We're going to have to talk later on.
Very important stuff.
Do you do the NLP? NLP, is it?
Yeah.
Cool.
We don't teach that, but well, I'm familiar with it.
I've been to one
understand
of the
concepts,
classes.
and it's the beauty of Amy Cuddy is that she talks about not only what it does for us physically and the communication that our posture has for other people, but how it makes us feel psychologically, which transfers to why I'm here to talk about theater. Because in the role that I am in now, my role in community theater, I've worked as an actor, but my real passion is directing. And my wife Heather and I have over the years been involved with a production of Scrooge that went on for 10 years and had multiple people play the character Scrooge, and then we had lots of different actors involved. And it was a ballet for children featuring children.
Very cool.
With adult actors carrying the dialogue, just a little bit of dialogue to make the story easy to follow instead of straight out ballet. So I have a big passion for the Dickens story and for what happens to the character of Scrooge during the show. And so I ended up connecting up with M&M Productions. M&M is two guys that produce shows at Kelsey Theater at Mercer County College. There's about it seems like a dozen production companies that work there, and they're one of them. And so it's Mike Olmstead and Mike DiIorio, and I love working with them. We're having a blast with the show. And in addition to them, I just need to give a shout out to a couple of the other folks involved. Our musical director now is a guy named Matt South, very collaborative, very inspirational with the cast. And our choreographer is a young woman named Laura Gafour. And boy, she is she just clicks with people and has an intuitive way of making movement that works best for them, makes them look good, and that they're comfortable executing. I had one of the actors who's playing this this big character, and this character Tom, and he said, do I fit in this scene? I said, trust Laura, you'll fit in this scene. You'll fit in this scene. And then just the other night, Heather and I had one of those moments. I think it was Sunday afternoon rehearsal. We're doing a run through of Act 2. And in Act 2, there's the scene where Scrooge he goes with the ghost of Christmas Present, and they go and visit the Cratchit family.
Okay.
And in the musical, Tiny Tim sings this solo, Beautiful Day. And we're rehearsing it. Tiny Tim's up on a box when he's singing, and then he does like a reprise of the song. And then Heather says, come here. I said, what? And she goes, remember, this is supposed to be underneath of the dialogue that Scrooge and Christmas Present are supposed to deliver simultaneously. And that had escaped my mind, but that's what she does so wonderfully. That's how we collaborate so well together. And so that.
So are you saying that, the woman is your backbone?
Oh, I am absolutely
I'm just
saying.
asking.
Where and when is the show?
The show is, let me make sure I give you the right dates. The show is at Kelsey Theater at Mercer County Community College. The run is November 22 through December 1. And the performance
I'm going to definitely go see this.
Let's
Fred.
go
Please,
together.
you all need to come see it.
Okay.
The performances are Friday night, Saturday matinee at 2, Saturday evening at 8, and then Sunday matinee at 2. And both weekends are the same. So there's 4 performances. Okay. And you got to come see this cast. There have been times as a director where in community theater, you get 80% strong people, and then 20% that you go, thank goodness we have somebody in those roles. We don't have that. We have 100% strong cast. I am delighted.
That's awesome.
We are blessed with the people that we have, and the guy, Matthew Cassidy, who is playing Scrooge for us. It's a passion role for him. He's wanted to do it his whole life. Done some other work with it, but he wanted to do this particular role. This is from the 1970 film.
Yes.
That's where the music comes from, and like the song that most of us might remember is "Thank you very much, thank you very much. That's the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for me." And Tom Jenkins, the big guy I was talking about, he sings that song. So it's moving along beautifully. Our stage manager is a woman named Melissa Gaynor. Wow, she's one of the most experienced stage managers at Kelsey. She's done, I would guess, hundreds of shows, and so we're very blessed to have her as part of our team as well. And so the show is shaping up. And when I talk about my perception about directing, there's different schools. You know, some directors are very my way or the highway, dictatorial. This is I have a vision. You will do what I'm.
You look like you could be that person too.
I could be. I look that way. When I don't smile,
You look that you could.
I have what
right.
I call my Colonel Jessup face.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, which was a role I actually played at Kelsey Theater one time. In A Few Good Men.
And you adopted the face?
Stage play. No, it's natural.
So funny.
You know that we've all heard that term that some people just have a mean resting face. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right?
RBF.
Yeah, and that's me. As I have to smile so much I feel like a grinning idiot to not look like I'm mad.
I know what you mean, Fred.
Yeah. So I work at it, you know, and when I'm interacting with the cast,
that's funny.
I want collaboration. I don't want to be the
Collaboration's
the
always
dictator.
key in
Yes,
everything.
and we have a very collaborative team, and it's very exciting, and the whole ensemble is really clicking together very nicely, and I'm so proud of them. And we have a couple of folks from the Robbinsville area that are in it, and so it's a lot of fun. So come see Scrooge.
Yeah. That's
So,
great.
two of my favorite things, other than, of course, Elvis, he's number one, but two of my favorite things are impersonations, impressions. I love them since I was a kid, and magic tricks. So, he forgot to tell you what else he does.
Yeah.
And he's
Love
going to do
magic.
something for us. Yes, you promised.
I did
Tell
promise.
everyone.
Okay. Another side of my life, I am a professional magician, and for a number of years, Heather and I made a living doing magic shows for cruise ships and theme parks. So when you've been on a ship and seen the entertainers, and we continue actually in the theme park industry. I'm pretty sure we just finished our 25th season at Knoebels Amusement Park.
Great place.
Wow.
I love that place.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, baby.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
pretty cool.
Yep, we do 24 shows in 1 week. It's crazy. It's 3 a day for 7 days, but we love it, and it's family shows, and that's my favorite audience, and so we have a blast with it. And so here's for the listening audience. Here's the background. When I was in high school, I was into magic. Actually, it started when I was 9, and so I was always doing tricks. And one of my favorite fans was GERI. She'd always ask me, "What do you got a trick today?" And so I would do magic for her. And I hope this translates, because I know you guys are going to have to describe what you're seeing here, since we're not going to be able to get a camera in.
Well, do you want to, come over here and get closer to them? You can do that. Or do you need a table?
No, I need a table.
Oh, okay.
It's a
Okay,
piece.
guys.
It's
You'll
a
see some of
prediction
it.
of
We'll describe.
using a deck of cards.
Okay.
And,
All right.
and I'm going to involve
Oh,
some
cool.
of you guys in this.
Oh, great.
So we'll see how right from your seats. It's going to be nice and easy.
Okay.
And And there is a direct tie-in. There's a lot of discussion in the magic community of the magician as actor. And because really, there's no magic, we're playing the part of a magician. And,
Presentation's key.
Yep.
You mean it's not really magic? I can't believe it. All these years.
But I believe it, so
Okay,
hopefully
good.
you'll
There
believe
you
it.
go.
All right. So I brought a
like
deck
saying
of
there's
cards
no
with
Santa.
me, and here's my deck of cards, and we'll see what happens with this.
Yeah, sure.
And I kept this deck in what's called new deck order, and what that means, if you look at the faces, and you guys will be able
Look
to
carefully,
see it.
Senny, so he's not cheating.
It's ace, 2, 3, 4, 5,
It's in order.
through king for spades, hearts, clubs, diamonds.
And it all starts with ace in each one.
Yeah, in each
I'm
one.
just checking.
That's new deck order. And so, now, I'm going to tell everyone here and the audience at home that I have made a prediction of sorts. And we're going to see how that prediction works out right now. And so in order to do that, let's... five's a lot, but I'll go for it. I'll go for it.
You don't have to use me. You can use them.
Okay. Everybody think of a card in a deck of cards. Okay. Don't go with something easy like the ace of spades. It's on top anyway. Or the queen of hearts. Everybody thinks queen of hearts. Get.
So he's already telling you not to use them too. Go ahead.
And she's always
Trick away.
I know her. She's always done this, right? Yeah, what's in the other hand?
Away.
What's in the other hand?
She wants you to do the trick, but then she tries to spoil it.
Always on the way.
Spoiler alert.
ahead.
So you got to be on your toes.
Oh, shut up.
When you're doing magic with Jerry.
So hard.
So Mike, think of a card. Got it?
Yep.
Tell me your card. I'm going to take it out of the deck.
8 of hearts.
Okay, the hearts are back here. There it is, the 8 of hearts. I'm going to put that out here. Okay, good. And Ruben,
Jack of diamonds.
Jack of diamonds. Diamonds are at the end.
Jack or 10?
Jack.
Jack.
Jack of diamonds. Okay, I'll put the Jack of diamonds out there. Ava.
7 of diamonds.
Oh, back to the diamonds. Back to the diamonds. Let's find the 7. There it is. That's my favorite number is 7.
Me too.
Yeah, were you born in July?
No, March 7th.
I was born in July, so that's the reason it is. And 3 sevens
Married in July.
equals
Does that count?
21.
21. That's my birthday.
Oh, it's beautiful.
July 21. Okay, you are up next.
4 heart.
4 of hearts. Okay, good.
A heart?
Hearts, right? 4 hearts.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, there we go. Now, I
No
just
black
made
ones.
a prediction that I set up in advance, and I didn't know what cards you guys would choose or why. Mike, was there a reason that you were 8 of hearts, right?
Yeah.
Is the 8 significant to you?
My wife, yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Same thing, Ruben, the Jack.
I was thinking about the song From a Jack to a King.
Yeah, I was thinking that when you said it.
See, so it is significant. And 7 is important to you?
Well, I got married in July, but I like
Okay.
7. I like the number. It's a lucky number. And diamonds, of course, are a girl's best friend.
There you go. And 4
There
hearts?
you go.
4 your heart.
4 your heart.
Heart,
Oh, I love
yeah.
that. I love that. All right, well, here's the interesting thing. And let's take a look at this deck. This deck is a red deck, red back deck. You can verify in studio.
Yes, red
Yes.
back
Red
deck.
Red backs.
No.
But I put 4 cards in, just 4, from a different deck.
No.
Those 4 were my predictions.
No. That's
Blue back.
craziness.
Get out of
back.
here.
Come on.
Oh,
Get out of here.
Show.
Thank you for picking
Wait,
my
pick those
And
blue
that's
cards up.
red.
Show them the blue cards on the thing. Just pick up 4 blue cards. Show them. Blue cards.
Blue cards. Blue cards.
Get out of here.
There we go.
That's
Blue
crazy.
back cards. All right. So,
that's awesome.
so
That's
there's,
close magic.
there
That's
is
crazy.
your piece of magic as promised,
I'm
Jerry.
sorry. I'm like 5 years old when it comes to this.
No, me too.
I'm always in
love
all
it.
of it.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, I have lots of friends who are magicians and hypnotists and all that kind of stuff, and I'm always amazed about when they.
I
do
dabbled
stuff.
in it when I was little. I never took it to any next level or anything. but I
Magicians
loved
hate
it.
me. Okay, so
All right, now, can I share a magic story?
yeah, but wait, I have a question.
She's like,
How the heck did you do that? When are you ever going to tell me how you
Never.
did one?
Never. No, you
Never.
can't do that.
Doesn't tell you.
And this is what I call that. Right now, you are experiencing the bubble of wonder. And if I
burst
burst
that
the bubble by telling you, I'm taking something precious away from
I
you.
stoop to low levels. I have two other magician friends. Okay, Magic Mike, shout out, he's incredible, and Jack Marwin, incredible, and the son now is getting into it. Little boy, we're talking like,
Oh, I love
9
that.
years
Love
old,
that.
and I take him aside
Yeah.
and I beg him to tell me how his daddy does things. I do. I bribe him with ice cream. All right, go ahead. Tell your magic story.
Well, this happened just this year. It was really cool. My wife has Heather's friend. Her name is Rhonda, and she's the relationship there was that Heather is a dance teacher for 27 years, entrepreneur. We ran. I helped her run, but she was the director of Jazz to Ball Dance in Bordentown, Jazz Tap Ballet. And Rhonda was a student that Heather met when she was just 3. And then when Rhonda got married, she called Heather up and said, "I want you to be my maid of honor. Would you do that?" And Heather said, "Well, no, I can't do that." And Rhonda was like very upset. Said, "What do you mean you can't do that?" She goes, "I'm married. I have to be your matron of honor," which she did.
Yeah.
So here's what happened. I got to revisit my childhood. Rhonda's 2 children wanted to go to New York, and in April they had a break from school. So we took a journey up, and Clayton, the boy, is been influenced by me a little bit with the magic. And Clayton's 11, and so he said, "I want to go to the big magic shop in New York." And the real magic shop, which is like the Diagon Alley of magicians in New York, is called Louis Tannen's Magic. Now, when you go there, I mean, it is like going to Diagon Alley. So Clayton and I walk, and we had to find the address, okay? And I think it was 32nd Street. And we find the street number, and he says, "I don't see a magic shop." So we have to go in. We'll ask the doorman. So we go in, the doorman says, "Oh, yeah, Louis Tannen's Magic is in this building, but it's on I think it was 9th floor. So he says, "You got to go up to the 9th floor." So Clayton and I get in the elevator, and we go up to the 9th floor in this business building. And we get out of the elevator, and now we're in a long hallway with just doors. And Clayton's going, "Oh, I don't see a magic shop." And then we saw just a little tail of a dragon painted on the wall. I said, "Maybe we should go to that end." And we walk down there, and we go inside, and it was Tannen's Magic Shop. And I had the same experience when I was about his age with my mentor. And so here I was paying it forward. And it was just so cool.
No, that is cool.
Oh, it gets. There's
No,
a
but Fred,
zinger at the
yeah.
end that was just so nice.
Oh my gosh.
This guy Alex, young magician, was at the counter, and he was demoing all these tricks. And Clayton picked 3. I told him he could pick 3. He picked 3 that he wanted, and so we're all ready. And now it's time to go to the cashier and pay for this. And so we go to the cashier. And Alex says to me, "We've met before." I said, "Get out." He said, "No, when I was about 12 or 13, I saw you at Knoebels."
Wow.
That's great. That's amazing.
And he named a couple of the tricks that he remembered that I did. So now I'm like a star.
Yes.
To Clayton. The guy knew you. You know, it was like, it was very cool.
Not just anybody, but the guy at the magic shop near you.
Oh my gosh. that's great.
Yeah, it was fun.
Clayton,
Everybody,
too.
give Fred a round of applause because, come on, that trick was incredible. It was magic. You're not going to tell me it wasn't.
Wow.
Yeah, well, you want to see magic? Come see Scrooge.
No, we're coming to see Scrooge, baby.
My
we're
question
coming
is,
together.
are you guys
We
going to have
Ava,
anybody
we are.
flying?
We are.
Well, I don't want to give anything away, but we are working, not like Foy type flying.
I didn't hear what you said.
But we are working on a little something.
Yeah.
Mike Olmstead, the producer who is in charge of the set and special effects, he uses a term. He says, "I like to have a couple of wow factors in every show."
Yeah, that's
Gotcha.
cool.
So without giving anything away, maybe you'll see something go in the air. Maybe you'll see characters appear in unusual places.
That's cool.
You should come with us to the show.
Yeah, we should all get tickets
It's gonna be a lot of
together.
fun. It's
Come
gonna be a
on,
lot
this
of
is
fun.
going to be
Should.
amazing.
Yeah, when the many times that I was in it, they had a throne that was on, big
Yes.
decorated throne, and all of a sudden, when I stood up and I told, "Be gone with ye," and all of a sudden, here goes the throne off the stage,
Nice.
like it just disappeared. It's pretty cool.
He did it.
Typically, did you have like a nice forest
Oh,
green?
I looked like a drag queen. Big ermine. I look like a combination of Hagrid and and Liberace.
That's a good description.
Yes,
Yeah.
Liberace, yes.
I even had like
Yes.
elf shoes. It was something else,
We can see the Liberace.
And what we had to do with the first year we did it, they actually put me like in this Santa Claus type wig, and it was like totally not what they wanted to do. What was interesting was I'm a natural tenor, and the song is for a bass.
Yeah.
And so I took it up an
the
octave,
bass?
and they were like, "Whoa!" And we did it ever since like that.
Was it the same, the Leslie Brickus?
Yep, Brickus, yeah.
So it was the I Like Life song.
Yep. Yeah, I like that
cool.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah, nice.
And I played Tom Jenkins before, and I had to dance on a coffin.
Yes,
And let me tell you, that was the scariest thing I've ever done.
we are doing that.
Oh God,
That one I'll talk about. Yeah. Tom Jenkins going to dance on the coffin.
that was
so.
scary.
We were working on that
a log?
yesterday.
No.
Wow. So I hope so far we're entertaining you guys out there, because this was so much more fun than I thought it was going to be. Everybody just talking about themselves, but look how great this crew was, right?
Yeah.
So great. So, all right. So I'm going to tell you, we have a little bit more time. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I do in my book. I'm going to share that with you guys. So I have a different approach on addiction. Mine is the real approach, and mine is right, and mine works. Just saying. I'm proof. It's not a disease. It's a dis-ease of the brain cells while using. And it doesn't just mean drugs or alcohol. It could be food, it could be sex, gambling, whatever it is. Your brain cells are altered, okay? Because no matter what you're doing, you're either thinking it or doing it, okay? The problem with the word disease, and I'm going to put this out there because this is important, guys. First of all, if we tell addicts they have a disease and they're powerless over it, they are now powerless over it. The fact of the matter is they're not powerless over it, okay? Only 7-8% of addicts that go through the programs get better and stay better. Oh, and that's such a low percentage that people out there should be saying something's wrong with that. So that's how I think, right? Things have to make sense to me. So I've studied the brain, I've been all over the world. I even went to Russia in the 80s when it was communist through Lenox Hill Hospital. I've studied every part of the human body. And I'm going to tell you something. Here's what I want to share because this is vital and this could save someone's life. The good news is, no matter how long the person is drinking or drugging or whatever it is they're doing, 6 months to a year, your brain cells could be reversed. And that's honestly with almost any disease out there, okay? And I'm also proof of that twice. So what I want to say is this, guys. I'm not going to go through all the, tech stuff about it. I'm here to help you, okay? If anyone gets in touch with me and says that they watched tonight's show and they're either dealing with addiction or some sort of an illness, you have my services for free. I'll also send you one of my books for free, okay? Because we have to do something to change the way people look at addicts. And the funny thing about it is, until it happens to you or your family, everybody judges the addict. But once it happens to you or your family, then all of a sudden you're looking at it a different way. my hope is that we can get everybody out there to look at it a different way. Okay? So, again, if you're struggling, if you have an illness, trust me, I can help you, no charge. Okay, guys? I just had to put that out there. So,
Very nice.
Can I throw a little shout
Yes,
out to piggyback off of that?
absolutely.
A very near dear friend of mine, I've known her for 30 plus years, just started an intervention company. It's called a New Way of Life. She's an addiction specialist. She's helped a number of people, and she's looking to help as many people that need it. So maybe I can give you the information posted on
Hook
the
us up,
page.
baby. Hook us up. And I'm going to give a shout out to, you know, all right, I don't want to make this show just about addiction or any of that. And I don't want to bring anybody down, okay? But I want the information. Hook us up with that because I'm really here to help people. Okay, that's my calling, and here I am. I'm going to make you laugh now a little bit because Fred knows me. He knows me longer than anyone here since 7th grade. And I say this to everybody, Fred. They're like, oh, how long have you been doing radio? You know, and I say, oh, only a few years, but I should have done this my whole life. I got in trouble every day in school for talking. Okay, right? You know. So, but again, guys, you know, we're here to help you, and we're here to bring awareness. Okay, Polixeni, your book is incredible, and I love what you've done as far as made it a children's book
That's
for
great.
adults because
you, Jen.
that is so great. I read your book. I love it. We have a few minutes to go, guys. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to have each of you tell everyone how they can find you
Okay.
and all that. So we'll start with you, Fred.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, I was remiss. I talked about everybody in the production company except what we were talking about with Ruben, the costumer. And her name is Louisa Murray, and she's just doing a real great job creating costumes that are period, that really make you feel like you're in London in 1843,
that's
and
cool.
so we're very excited about that. So what you're going to want to do, there's a couple of choices, and hopefully I don't get in trouble with the producers when I tell you what I just found out today, but I'll come back to that. You can purchase tickets at Kelsey Theater, and it would be www.kelseytheater, and it's spelled the classic way, which means R-E at the end instead of E-R. kelseytheater.org. And so if you go to that website, you'll be able to find us there. Also, if you Google up M&M Productions, you can find us there as well. And then one of my colleagues at Dale Carnegie came to me today and said, you know that people can get tickets at Groupon, and they can get 2 tickets for $22. Which is pretty much half price.
Let's do it.
So go to Groupon.
That's where we're going.
We're doing it.
Shout out for
Nothing
Groupon.
wrong
Whoop.
with that. What's really important to us is that as many people as possible come to see this marvelous cast. And so whether you buy them through the theater, buy them through Groupon, what's important is please come and support them, and M&M Productions will be able to keep producing shows going forward, which of course they're going to do. But I mean, it's just a way of supporting the community.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Did you
Beautiful.
say we can buy them at the door?
I wouldn't count on it.
Got it.
He's hoping for
It only
Sold out.
well, the theater's small. It seats about 400.
Okay.
And 2 or 3 weeks ago, I heard that we were already over 1,000.
Okay, I'll
So,
get him this week.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would get them
All right.
soon. Don't count on the door.
Thank you, my love. So we
That's
have
a
a
good
couple
thing.
minutes for each of us.
Okay.
Polixeni, tell everyone how to get your book and how to
Okay.
find you.
If you want a copy of my book signed,
Come here now. No.
Ooh,
and so personalized, you can give me an email at pkjcassociates@gmail.com. So pkjcassociates@gmail.com.
I'm laughing because you're saying it with posture. And
Well,
your move,
that's
right?
good.
And,
Go ahead.
And in terms of physical therapy, if anyone needs to reach out and come see me or any one of my colleagues, you go to www.northjerseypt.com and you'll find us.
Tell them the name of your book and how they can purchase it if they don't want your autograph.
Okay, so Posture, Simply Posture, Correct Simply, is found on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Beautiful. Miss Holly. Miss Ava
Thank you.
Holly.
Cool. So 4A Star encompasses a lot of things, and now Marco and I, as business partners, have opened a shared office space. So I just want to give a shout out to that really quick. We're in Hamilton, and there's nothing like what we have anywhere within like a 60-mile radius. So they have something in Philly, but that company was just bought out. So anyway, we have shared office space, shared conference space, and several of the people on the panel here came to our grand
Yes, it was
opening.
awesome.
And it's great. So we run Mr. Painting Productions out of there with a green screen studio in the back. We run 4A Star out of there with all of our special events, talent management, and all that in the front. And then we have the offices to rent out. So if you want to find us, it all falls under the parent company. So that's 4astar.com. It's the number 4astar.com, and you can find all the pages there, the Ava's eye bags, the shared office space, all the things that we're doing stuff with GERI. Everything's at that page. So, yeah, that's how you find us. Thank
Ruben,
you.
how can they find you, sweetie?
Well, currently my website is going under reconstruction, but what it is right now is www.elvisunplugged.com. That's ELVISUNPLUGGED.com. Or you can get in touch with me on Facebook, Ruben Castillo, spelled differently from the sandwich, but equally as tasty. RUBEN Castillo, CASTILLO. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram at Elvis Unplugged. You can also find me on Friday nights at the world famous Boogie Nights in the Tropicana. I'm there emceeing after 10 o'clock at night. So if you want to come and check me out there, and always check your libraries, because the libraries will have the updated information regarding the Elvis Unplugged shows. And hopefully we'll be putting out information about that 70s guy, which we want to do next year at some point. So
Beautiful. Okay, Michael.
You can find me at bollentinforassembly.vote. It's BOLLENTINFOURASSEMBLY.vote. I have a Facebook page just linked through there. I have my Twitter, Statesman Mike NJ, through there as well. Everything's really linked off the pages there.
So I want to give a shout out to Ella, who typed in something, and when I read my poem, I just want to say something about this. She said, "Thank you, Jerry. I went through this with my son, and I stayed with him to save his life. He is 2.5 years clean, never gave up on him." Amen to that. I want to comment on that. This is how what I'm saying is true, guys. They also teach this, and it contradicts itself. They teach that your loved one has a disease who they are powerless over it. That's what they teach. But kick your loved one to the curb. Let them hit rock bottom. Don't help them. Don't give them water. If you have to kick them out, kick them out. How does that work? If your loved one truly has a disease that they're powerless over, you're going to kick them to the curb? That's how I knew what they were saying was not right. Because if my loved one truly had a disease, I'm not kicking them to the curb. Okay, guys? So now, I want to thank everybody out there who watch this program, and we're going to vote for this guy over here. We're going to go see the play.
Yep.
We are absolutely going to buy this book.
Yep.
And we're going to go check out my boy, Elvis, honey. And Miss Ava Holly and Marco Panting from Mr. Panting, who we love, Teens with Dreams. I sponsored a show for him. We love him. Okay, we're going to check out their office space. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
With that, I am going to close out with a poem I wrote, and it's the final poem of this book. I'm revising this in January. It's called Change Your Choice, and this applies to everything in life, guys, okay? I had a life-changing moment that I knew had to be. The only way to change things was to first start with me. So I looked in the mirror and woke up one day and thought to myself I needed to pray. So I asked God to change me, to help me stay strong, to clean up my mess, to right what's been wrong. I cleaned up my diet, I cleaned up my room, I cleaned up all habits with this old dirty broom. I kept going forward and never looked back. I refused to derail, stayed on the right track. I realized my worth and all that did matter through my selfish behavior, the lives I had shattered. I finally decided at 30 years old to stop abusing my body, my mind, heart, and soul. My life-changing choice that I had once made, over 28 years now, guys, my debt has been paid. So you read all my thoughts on how to stay clean. It's all or nothing, my friend. There's no in between. To live or to die is a choice you must make. Your life is not worthless and you're not a mistake. One day at a time is a slogan you've heard. It works if you work it while applying his word. For you to get healthy, for your mind not to fail, escaping reality will keep you in jail. With addictive behavior, sex, drugs, food, or money, substituting addictions, now isn't that funny? I'm not an addict. This too shall pass. I'm not an addict. I'm just an ass. Thank you, everybody.
Woo.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
This was fun.
Cool show, guys. Cut our mics. Ruben, Gino.